What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. That's our guy, Jordan Maxson, and we are live. Jordan, hope you had a good Independence Day. Hope everybody out there had a good Independence Day, spent time with their families, got to enjoy some good food. Jordan, what did you guys do for July 4th yesterday?
July 4th, we had a little cookout with ourselves during the daytime. Enjoyed some great food, some steaks, some hot dogs, hamburgers. Then we took off to Kings Island, rode a few rides, and saw a fantastic drone show and fireworks that were synced up with it. So it was the first time us experiencing that. The kids had fun. I had a great time. So no complaints there. Watched some movies early, though. I got my jaws on. I watch it every 4th of July. The beaches are open and everybody's having a good time. Then I ended the night with some Mel Gibson and The Patriot because it just doesn't feel like Independence Day without a little bit Mel Gibson charging the hill and taking the battle. So yeah. All around great 4th of July. What about you guys?
So yesterday we started early. We're obviously big into swimming, so we took my daughter and went swimming most of the day, cooked out in the backyard, had burgers, had corn, had beans, had all that good stuff, and had a good time swimming. And at the end of the day, we went and saw the West Carrollton fireworks. They did a good show down here at the levee. So fun night. Nice to, do that with my daughter, and really just a fun night. So yeah, great day. Watched a little bit of the movie Life. Do you remember the movie Life with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal that came out 4 or 5 years ago? Do you remember that movie? It wasn't great. It was not great, I'll tell you that. Elite Tweet Center, Shout out to you guys. Thanks for being here. But do you remember that movie?
I do.
Yeah, it's the organism that just continues to evolve, and somehow
everybody thought it was going to be a Venom prequel. I remember that.
Right. That was kind of the prevailing thought was, yes, it'll be a Venom prequel. But they paid Ryan Reynolds a shit ton of money to be in the movie, and he was only in there for probably 10 minutes. And then Jake Gyllenhaal brings the alien to Earth. It's not great. It is not great by any means. Kind of a fun sci-fi spin. I watched that for a little bit, and then I rewatched half of Independence Day. We posted the quote from the president, the great speech, and so great day. Really enjoyed it. Fireworks were great. I'm excited to be back here with you, buddy. One of those fun weekends. Let's kind of recap. The Reds sweep the Yankees. We'll be touching on that first. Currently, they are down 4-1 to the Tigers. We will touch on that also because something we talk about all the time has reared its ugly head. And then we will talk about FC Cincinnati. They had a nice win over DC United. We'll touch on that. And they have a big game coming up against Inter Milan for the battle for the East. And we're going to finish with some Cavs talk. Cavs have been quiet in free agency. We know that the dominoes have fallen so far. We're waiting on the next big move, so we will definitely touch on that. And we will end, Jordan, with some news and notes. So let's start from the top, Jordan. The Reds sweep the Yankees. Give me your thoughts right off the top because it's been almost 50 years since the Reds have swept the Yankees. Yeah. What were your thoughts watching that 3-game set and watching the Reds play good, really, really consistent and good baseball for 3 games? What were your thoughts?
I'll start with game 1. Ashcraft blew me away, Douglas, because we haven't been high on him. He's been sent back down for assignment in AAA to kind of go back to his mechanics and kind of find himself. But he pitched 6 great innings, Douglas, and that's all you can ask for somebody to go into New York against the Brooklyn Bombers, who have been kind of struggling themselves, but nevertheless, they have a murderer's row hell of a bat.
They're still the Yankees. They're still the Yankees.
They're still the Yankees. They're still one of the best teams in baseball. One of the top 5 teams in AL, if not, I think number 3 overall.
Yep.
But definitely started with Ashcraft. We saw some great hitting on game 1. Game 2, Abbott comes out, really battles his ass off. Yeah, and sure. the Reds win what they needed to, Douglas, a close game in game 2. And that, go ahead. I'll let you take it.
No, you're right. I was gonna say Matt Sense chimes in. India with the fire emoji. That probably doesn't even do Jonathan India justice, Jordan.
No.
He's playing the best month of his entire career. He's got the average up to almost 280. We're not counting tonight because obviously that changes things, but incredible run from Jonathan India.
Yes, and like you said, incredible run by Jonathan India, who comes up big in Game 3, but all the bats did. The Reds got their version of Murderer's Row going, and just really takes the game. And we even got some quality pitching from Montas in Game 3. So it all around, real big. Especially Game 2, the bullpen Douglas comes out and does what it needs to. Some hairy situations. We know their best batter was up a couple times with some runners on base with Aaron Judd. And Douglas, besides giving up, we knew he was going to get his at some point. Not a big shocker. One of the best hitters in the league. But the Reds did it, and it was a complete series from top to bottom. They did it with defense. We had double plays. We had guys producing, in the infield. We didn't see very many errors. Ellie Deli Cruz came and showed New York, which not the greatest audience I want because of his pending free agency later in life, but showing New York why he's one of the greatest, 22-year-olds in baseball right now. And it just evolves from there. I wish we could see some of the consistency tonight, but Douglas, it was a great series. It was great to come home to, and I really hope to see the continued consistency in the pitching department. And if we can just make that trade that the covenant, outfielder big hit trade, Doug, this team could have it. I really do. And I'm looking at it not just from a fan's view, but from an analyst standpoint. This team has the pieces and the tools, and they just have to define it just a little bit more. And Doug, we could be seeing a run in October. How do you feel?
A run in October is still a little out of my reach, but I do think we have pieces to get us into the wild card mix and be competitive in that area. Maybe if things fall perfectly and we get a good matchup with our three starters, our 1 through 3 guys, we could maybe push the team good in a series. I do think that's very possible. I'm not ready to go all in on a run in October, but I do think we could give a team trouble in that opening round if we can get there. Jordan, a stat that was interesting, we had 17 hits against the Yankees. 7 of those were home runs. Impressive numbers. Yes. Anytime you can go out and beat the Yankees, Ashcraft, Abbott, Montas all pitched their way to victories. Diaz was able to shut down 2 to get 2 saves. An incredible weekend. It's one of those weekends that make you feel like, whoa, maybe we could be. It's that they pull me back in.
It's that Godfather 3 moment.
Exactly.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
And that's exactly what they did this weekend. We are 3 games under 500. We're 3.5 games out of the wild card. And you just feel like there's new life in you after a great series against the Yankees. Can we keep the momentum? Because, Jordan, we're going to have to transition, unfortunately, a fun series against the Yankees. But we come into the game tonight against Detroit, and Spears is pitching. He's given up 4 runs on 3 home runs. And it's just tough because there's not a lot of help with the bats tonight. Steer hit a home run to make it 4-1. But nobody else has even come close. We have literally 1 hit tonight, and it's Steer's home run. The consistency with this team rears its ugly head. You look like you say, Jordan, the competition. We play up a level to play against the Yankees.
Yeah, we do.
I think we're 12-6, 11-6 against the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the best teams in baseball. But then we come here against the Detroit Tigers, who are 9 games under 500. And we're down 4-1 in the top of 6. The consistency has not been there enough for this team. And again, tonight we're watching it happen to us, and it's just frustrating because we feel like we're right there. We're so close. Jordan, we know that this team lacks an outfielder. I'm going to go ahead and change my stance. I believe Stuart Fairchild. I've treated him unfairly because. Here's the thing. He's not a great hitter. We all know that. But he is one of the best defensive centers in terms of, making the big catch. He robbed another home run tonight. He made another great play at the wall. I feel like he robs more home runs than we've seen a lot in a long time in Cincinnati. So I'm going to change my stance. While he is not a good hitter, and I do think there are other options out there. He's hitting 229. I think Stu Fairchild earns his spot on this team through his defense, not his bat, through his defense. You can trust him to make a big play in the outfield when your team needs it. I'm changing my stance on Stuart Fairchild. The batting, we understand. We have to go out and get an outfielder either way. And when TJ Friedel comes back, we'll have that conversation, because you almost have to have Stuart Fairchild, Jordan, because Friedel is so injury prone. It's almost important to have him. But Benson, Martini, those guys, they're hitting 206 and they're hitting 188. We've got to make a move in the outfield, dude.
Martini's so inconsistent. I mean, he had a nice home run in the Yankees series too, but just we don't see it enough.
Shout out Tyler McGurk checking in, Sports with a Slur. We really appreciate you, Tyler. Great show last night. If you have not checked out Tyler's show, Sports with a Slur, last night he talked about LeBron and the new song by Eminem called Toby. Check him out. But Jordan, let's get back into it. Tomorrow night, we have Hunter Green back on the hill. We are both firm believers in Hunter Green. We can, let's say this game doesn't go our way. We're 4 games under 500. We still have to close out these next 2 games in the series. We have to win these series. These next 10 games are very, very important to the Reds leading up to the All-Star break, Jordan. Let me give you the schedule real quick.
Hit me with it.
It's 3 with Detroit, and then, like I said, 3 with Detroit, 4 with Colorado. Colorado is not a good team either. And then we've got 3 with the Marlins. The Marlins are not trying to contend either. The next 9 games, because we're just going to say we throw this one out. What are you projecting the record to be on the next 9 games?
Realistically, Doug, I can see a 7-3.
9 games. So 7-2.
Oh, I'm sorry. 7-2. 7-2.
That's gonna be tough. That is gonna be tough.
I see it. I see it because guys are getting healthier. Candelario's gonna get back into shape, get it back into playing gear. That's gonna be a big bat, because we all know when Candelario's on fire, even though he struggled the other night coming off the bench and coming into play. But Doug, ring rust is a real thing in any sporting event that you do, especially when you're rehabbing an injury like that. So I didn't hate on him as much as some of the other media outlets out there did last night. I was kind of pulling for him, but I think that you got to take that into an account. We're going to get that back in the better part of our pitching rotation. Like we said, Hunter Green is one of our aces when he's healthy too. He had that hydration issue in the last series. I think he's going to shake that off. God help our medical team. Hopefully they get that right. But I don't believe in the medical team, Doug. I've been pounding that drum all season.
And I've heard that a lot more recently, Jordan. I know you brought it up, but I've been hearing a lot more that the medical team needs to be under a microscope because they are struggling also. Want a quick shout out to the Bearded Browns podcast. Those guys do a phenomenal job covering the Cleveland Browns. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And Matt commented in again. Feels like a season where they need to grind things out and see what they have. Next year will be the year they need to get healthy, come out to the ballpark and go for it all. See,
you can't bank on that.
And while I do like the sentiment, I think you never know what's going to happen. You cannot plan on next year being the year. I think every year is an opportunity to go out and make it happen. To me, Nick Krall has to be aggressive at the deadline because, like you said, there's no one team really just blowing the doors off of people. Yeah, the division leaders are very far ahead, but the wild card is absolutely up for grabs right now. And the Reds can contend and be a wild card team if things go their way. I truly do believe, Jordan, we've got to make moves to continue to contend and not sit on our hands like we did last year and wasted a season. Remember, we had a good season. We were contending at the wild card. We finished 82-80. That kept us on the outside looking in. We cannot let that happen again. Even if we're 2 games under 500 or something, I still think there's enough left in the season where you go out and you make a move and really go for it. No more sitting on our hands. We got to go forward and try to make the moves to become a contending team. Jordan, you said 7-2 in the next 9. I'm going to say 6-3. I think we have to win both series after the Detroit. We have to win the Detroit series, and we have to win the next 2 series after that. And to do that, we have to go at least 6-3. I think you are a little bit higher up than I am on it, but I like the confidence from us both because what else can we do? We've got to be right at 500. 100% agree. They needed to make a move. The big difference this year is healthy and the depth is tested. There we go. Jesse Winker, your reunion from Tyler McGurk. I have no problem with that. Jesse Winker was a guy that fans really enjoyed here. It felt like we moved him to get some more prospects. If he was able to come back, I have no issue with that. Ian chimes in, joining in late. One thing this team is doing really well is pitching in relief. Teams that do that well in the postseason have strong bullpens, a couple moves by the front office, and this team could make noise. Ian, we talked about that last week with you, and again, this week the sentiments remain the same. The sweep with the Yankees, if anything, bolstered that point for me. We have the pieces. We need a couple pieces to take it to the next level, and I think you've said the same thing, Jordan.
Yes.
And this is the time. We've got a couple games left before. Let's make that move and let's really go in and try to contend. So we've really hammered home the Reds, Jordan. We'll touch on them again. Bottom of 6th, the Detroit's up 4-1. The Reds have 2 outs with I believe Ellie's up. India's up. Ellie's up next. Hopefully we can make some noise there and we'll chime in if anything changes. But Jordan, time to transition. Let's talk about the best team in Ohio right now, FC Cincinnati. They come back. They win the DC United game. Talk to me about DC United and that game because you said on the show it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a tough game, and we come out and we get the win. What were your thoughts on the game against DC United?
And to echo what you said too, Doug, doesn't matter. The record kind of gets thrown out when people play FC Cincinnati. They are just bringing it to them, and that's been kind of the pattern all year. But a really good game. They won the possession percentage. We held the possession 53%. We had 4 corner kicks there too. So that was, anytime you win in those situations, statistically, you kind of win the game. But the padding goal there at the end to go up 3-1 is what really sealed it because we did end up giving kind of a late goal. So that game was competitive from kind of start to finish, but it was really good to see. This game seemed a lot calmer than the game before that. So, they came out with DC United. We kind of looked like we were more in the game, more aggressive when it came to kicks and possessions, and maybe kind of maniacal about how surgical is what I should say. Everything seemed kind of surgical. They were passing the ball back a lot. We were keeping it for a lot more minutes than the previous game.
Yeah.
So I was really happy with it. Always good to see a guy come out and score 2 goals in one game. Absolutely on fire. Incredible. Solidifying why we have 3 All-Stars, going into that realm there. But like you said, all eyes, Douglas. I mean, the top 2 teams in the East, it's really about Inter Miami and what FC Cincinnati is going to come out and make that statement. So I think it's all on this weekend's game. It almost has to be, right?
And you're saying it correctly. Tomorrow night, 7:30, Cincinnati plays Miami, and the battle for first place in the East. I mean, it's a big game. You talked about the game against DC United. We get the 2 goals from Buka to seal the game. Incredible performance from him. But we get Inter Miami versus FC Cincinnati. Here's the thing. We're 2 points behind.
Yep.
This game right here, if somehow Cincinnati could find a way to win this game, it helps, Jordan. Let's take into consideration that Messi and Suarez are not playing because they are playing overseas in their league over there for their home countries. This is the opportunity. You got to take this game. Without the 2 best players on their team, there's no way you can lose this game. That right there should be the difference in this one. I know we'll probably play them at full strength later on, but you've got to steal this one and build the momentum now. No reason to lose this game against Miami. Steal it. Put your foot on their throats. If you can, try to make 3-1, 2-1, something like that, because this is a big opportunity. Bearded Browns, wrong football, sirs. So go ahead, Jordan. What are your thoughts? Because this is potentially without Messi and without Suarez playing, it's not game of the year. But this is the biggest game in the MLS in terms of standings and things like importance. But without those two guys, it's probably not game of the year. But what are your thoughts on FC Cincinnati versus Miami in a massive, massive game for the standings?
And I still think it's even without the extra star power, which you touched on, right? Dead on there. The compass still points. This is the biggest game in MLS, and even without the star power, Miami is a team that almost gets a double payroll than we do. They outspend us.
They outspend everybody.
They outspend everybody. This is true. But I'm just saying, even the secondary guys and the bench players and the role players and the guys that come off and, give a few minutes here and there, some of those guys can go to FC Cincinnati. Well, FC Cincinnati and other teams and start or potentially, give quality minutes. So even without the star power, this is a very good Miami team. They should definitely not overlook the fact that they're missing the extra star power. But like you said, there's no excuses. All the excuses go out the window. We're on a massive winning streak. We're one of the best teams, if not the best team that we were touching on in MLS on the road. They did it against DC United, dominating time of possession, and that just kind of needs to be the cookie cutter for this game. 2 games ago, Douglas, they won the game, and the possession wasn't in their favor. The corner kicks weren't in their favor. Just about every stat said we should lose it. So you can't play that game against Inter Miami. There's not going to be any luck that gets us past this game. It's got to be planned. It's got to be like hardcore, and it's got to be a full 90 minutes, 110 minutes after stoppage time from start to finish. And I think these guys are going to do it. I think they're going to shock the world. I think we're going to finally put kind of our stamp in MLS, and that secondary matchup when both teams are at full strength is going to be probably the game of the year to watch. So I'm pumped up. I'm ready for it. I know the city of Cincinnati is ready for it. We always kind of sell out. I touch on it every week. We're a top 5, top 6 for crowds and sellouts. So, let's go and really take it to them and finish off a 4-game stretch, Douglas.
And I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing. FC Cincinnati comes into this game. We lost one in the middle. We're 2-1 in our last 3. But Miami comes in. They've won their last 4 by a score of 2-1. It's a huge game. I'm so excited to watch this game. I know we're missing a little bit of star power, but like you said, even without those 2 guys, 4 straight wins. This is a huge battle. I'm so excited. Bearded Brown said, "Go Crew." The Crew have crept up to the 3rd seed in the East right now, Jordan. It goes Miami, Cincinnati, Columbus Crew. Crew are 9 points behind us for 2nd place, so we still have some distance. But I know we don't talk about them, but the Crew are a solid club. But right now, our focus is on Cincinnati and Miami. Big game tomorrow night. It's going to be if somehow Cincinnati can pull this off, and we talk about it on Monday, it's going to be a hell of a game. If I'm going to go on record. If FC Cincinnati wins tomorrow night, I'm coming on the show Monday with an Acosta jersey on. I'm going all in, Jordan. If they can beat Miami, I will have an Acosta jersey on Monday.
Douglas, I feel like I have to match you. I feel like maybe I got to pick another player, but I feel like
I think you go with Luka. You go with a Luka.
I would love that.
Luka. If they win tomorrow night, you come on with a Luka Orlano jersey, and I come on with an Acosta jersey, and we go all in on FC Cincinnati if they're able to win that game tomorrow night. That sounds like a fine wager to the team. We'll send that in for them. They have to win tomorrow night, because then we're going to the store, we're picking up the jerseys, and we're showing up with them on Monday. Yeah. So that's a fun one. So massive game. Great win over DC United. All eyes on Saturday night. Huge atmosphere. Jordan, let's keep it moving. Let's move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everything has fallen into place so far. We've got our draft pick, we've got our coach, we've got our star player. We're working on the extension with Evan Mobley to sign his massive deal. Right now, the focus, in my opinion, should be on, obviously, Summer League is important for those guys' development and everything. We'll move on that. We'll touch on that here shortly. But everything should be focused on improving the current roster. Right now, a free agency is in a weird spot. There are still good players. There are still definitely good players. But there's question marks, Jordan. We're talking about Cam Johnson and getting Cam Johnson in a sign and trade from Brooklyn, who is he shoots, I think, 42% on catch and shoot threes. Incredible player. I'm not sure what we'd have to give up. It would probably be Isaac Okoro in a pick to get a Cam Johnson. I agree. There's been some rumblings about Isaac Okoro in a pick for Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges has had off the court troubles. If we're talking strictly from a basketball situation, Miles Bridges is a damn good basketball player. He averages 21, 7, and 3. He shoots 35% from the three-point line on 6 attempts. I've argued back and forth with people all day about it. He is a good basketball player, but he has had a lot of trouble off the court. We're not going to necessarily dive into that because we all know that he's had issues. There's been some other guys mentioned. Shout out to Darren for chiming in. Jordan, what are your thoughts so far on free agency? We haven't done anything. There's Dario Saric. There's other players still out there available. What are your thoughts on free agency? I know you've not dived into it as much because I know you've been busy, but any thoughts so far? What about us just not signing anybody, not bringing anybody in yet? Are you content with that, or what are your thoughts?
I'm absolutely not content with that, but just something I want to highlight. If I'm saying it wrong, Carroll, welcome to the coaching staff for the Cleveland Cavaliers. We did get some assistance there for the assistant coaching. We're getting that kind of figured out. So I do want to touch on that because that's.
Sorry, Jordan. Here, I'll give you the names. Jordan Ott is joining the staff from the Lakers, and then Damari Carroll, longtime NBA player. I think he had an 11 or 12-year career. A good wing player in his own right. Good defender. So Jordan Ott, Damari Carroll, both have joined the staff. Sorry, Jordan, continue.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. So for us to bring in pieces and move pieces, we got to get our staff together. And I think that's also the next domino that had to fall. So now I think we're ready. Anything but a Coro. No, we
It's true.
It's true. It's damn true to quote Kurt Angle. But we have to. I'm ready to move on from Isaac Okoro. I think he'd be a great sign and trade piece. He's young. I think he's hit his ceiling for everything he can do in Cleveland. But I'd like to see the young man moved on. But to kind of touch on people with background issues and issues off the court, Douglas, we've had some busted draft picks in recent time that. One of them is back in the league. I don't know how, but we moved on from them, and I would not like to see, because Kobe Altman cannot handle stuff like that, and I wouldn't want to see kind of any repeat. So I don't want to bring in troublemakers. I know points and stuff like that look great, but as for just kind of sitting on our hands, Doug, I want to say by probably Monday or Tuesday we'll make a move now that we have the assistance situation figured out. We have the summer league figured out. We know Craig Porter Jr. is going back to the summer league. Jalen Tyson, DJ Burns, Bates is going to participate as well, from what I'm reading and hearing. So I think now that we kind of got that locked in, we got to make a move for a wing player. I'd still love us to talk to New Orleans and see if we can grease any wheels there. But that's kind of the pipe dream.
Yeah.
But I would really. Some of these other names you're throwing out, I'm into it. I'm into any kind of change right now because the current roster, I feel like the back end of it's kind of hit their ceiling. I'd like to see Craig Porter Jr. play, a lot more minutes. I would like us to move on from Niang, even though he had some great moments in the regular season, but when the lights got bright, he was nowhere to be found, and he worked himself to the bench, whether that was bad coaching from JB Bickerstaff or he just kind of got in his own head. Douglas, we can't the East is getting too talented. We can't wait around and hope that these guys pan out. So any roster change I'm in favor for. And I would just like to see any kind of move or life from Kobe Altman and company to just kind of really spark excitement. We got the Donnie signing, we got the coach, we got the assistants. Like you said, we got the draft, we got the summer league. It's important for development, but we need a veteran, Doug. We need a veteran on the wing, or we need a veteran ball handler that can come out and play these big time minutes when it means something in the playoffs. And without that, I don't think this team stacks up to top 5.
No, and that's fair. No, we are not a championship contender by any stretch. So let me touch on some comments that we got. Michael Wilkes, yes, is coaching the summer league team. I'm excited about the summer league roster. DJ Burns, Travares coming across from Australia. Like you said, Amani Bates, our rookie Tyson, and Porter Jr. are going to be the starters. Matt chimes in. Bleacher Report did have an interesting 3-team trade that would send Garland to the Lakers, and we would return Reeves and a couple of Rui Hachimura and one other player. It was a very nice trade. I don't know if it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic. It would have been a very nice trade for the Cavaliers, though. Lots of rumblings that Jimmy B could be on his way out of Miami. That is true, but I don't want to give up Garland for a guy who's 36, whose run has all taken place in Miami. His best days have only been in Miami. I know he's had good other teams, but they've never been as good as he was in Miami, and that worries me for some reason. Tyler, over-under on 22 shots for Bates in the Summer League. I hope it's massively under. I would like to see him improve as a player, as a creator also, and I would like to see more shots for our pick, Jalen Tyson, see what he can do with his creation. And Matt, like you said, Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson is a almost perfect fit for this lineup at the 3. He's a damn good catch and shoot 3-point player. He's a bigger wing who can defend different positions and a decent rebounder in his own right. So there's a lot of options out there, Jordan, for the Cavs. I think this team is going to have to make a trade. We've done all of our work over the weekend. And, of course, we're here on a Friday instead of our Thursday, so we have even more. We're closer to the weekend. I think we've got to make a move. Like you said, Jordan, I would like to see Cam Johnson be on the Cavaliers come Monday. I don't know what it's going to take, but if we could get him, Cam Johnson, and Finney Smith from the Nets, I think that would be a win. I would feel much better about the Cavs going into next season. We would get 2 big wings. Cam Johnson would probably be our starter. Finney Smith coming off the bench, who's a solid 3-and-D type player. I do like that. Being from the Bay Area, I don't know about Tyson. Seemed like a big reach, but wish him all the luck. It felt like a reach to us on draft night, Tyler. It felt like a reach to us, but I've done some more research. I like his creation. I like the way he gets to his spots and is able to hit the 3 with the ball in his hand. I think he's a good rebounder for his size, so I do understand some of the reservations. But he's also not asked. He's not going to be asked to do more than he's capable of doing when we have guys like Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. And Jordan, I'm going to go on record right now. I expect Evan Mobley to take a massive leap offensively this year. I'm expecting him to attempt 4 to 5 threes a game. I'm expecting 10 rebounds, and I'm expecting 16 to 17 points a game. But I'm expecting it. Those aren't massive numbers leaps, but I'm expecting his offense to look smoother and more direct and more pointed. So what are your thoughts on Evan Mobley taking a leap this offseason? We've been expecting it. Don't get me wrong. We were promised baby KG. We haven't got baby KG yet.
Not yet.
But I'm thinking we're getting closer. If he could be KG light and a little bit better, I think that's still a win because KG, when he was on his own in Minnesota, was MVP quality, phenomenal player. So we could get KG light. I think that's a huge win for us.
Doug, I think under this new coaching regime, we're going to instantly see it. I think you're going to see plays that if you kind of reminisce in the Kevin Love era, when we had a lot of plays that were designed specifically for him, kind of early on when we made that trade. I'm not trying to compare the two necessarily.
Yeah,
but,
that's not
but,
the same.
But I'm talking like game plan, because things were specifically designed. We got him integrated in the game very early and very often, and I think you're going to see that for Evan Mobley. I don't think anything's going to shy away from it. You're going to
So
see
you want to see more plays for Evan Mobley early in games. Is that what you're getting at?
correct. I would love to see Evan Mobley score the first 6 points or 9 points in the game. Just absolutely designed to get his engine going. And then the rest of the pieces around us, the shooters, then you see Donovan Mitchell enjoying himself. Then you kind of see distributing, to the outside. Then he can come off the bench, and if Jared Allen is still on the team, he can kind of play those minutes defensively and kind of get some offense going with some alley oops and nice passes in transition. And then you got this team going. And I think a lot of that, we talked about upgrading the pace with this new coaching regime, something JB Bickerstaff could not achieve. And that's going to be massive. If you get the pace going and these guys moving, Evan Mobley, I mean, the sky's the limit. And I think a lot of that was kind of stalled in the Cavaliers play, where it was very, let's take our time, come across the ball, too many passes, too many bypasses under the rim and kickouts, where we just got to get Evan Mobley directly involved, set up the play, set up the pick, get the pass in, and get that man to the rim. And I think once you get that confidence going with those shots, then we see the 3 ball. Then we see guys kicking it out to him. Yeah. And that just opens up the whole offense for me, Doug. We kind of saw that in the last 2 games of the Celtics series, a little bit due to default because there was no Jared Allen, but that's the future. We saw the future. I love what it looks like. And this new coaching staff, they love pace. They're going to be about more offensively. And Evan Mobley right now, his development, it needs that. So Douglas, I suspect that he's going to be, it's going to be Evan Mobley early and often. And we're going to see that spark. I'm not saying he's going to be KG, but we're going to see that KG-esque play, that,
I hope so.
Just that desperation. And that talk of him being drafted too high, I think is going to go right out the window. I think he's going to play to his potential.
Well said. Yeah, we need it, man. We need Evan Mobley to take that next step for this team to get to the next level. Also, I like that. Very exciting stuff. We need to make a move still. Until we make a move, this team is very incomplete. Even with the core 4, we are not. We've got something's got to change. Something has to improve with this roster. We'll see. Hopefully by Monday for our live show, we have some news. Jordan, we've covered the Reds. We've covered FC Cincinnati. We've talked Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on the Reds score. It is 5-2 Detroit with 1 out in the top of 7. They have 2 runners on. They scored again. We scored again. It's not going our way right now. The inconsistency rears its ugly head. But Jordan, is there anything else you want to touch on tonight? News and notes from around Ohio? Anything crazy going on that we need to discuss?
Not necessarily any crazy. We'll give our boys to the north a little shout out. The Guardians are continuing to play great baseball. They had a great weekend as well, even though the Reds kind of helped them out with the Yankee sweep. So it was nice to see a couple of the Cleveland social media kind of hammer a little bit of appreciation for their brothers here down south. So they're out here killing it. Ohio State's still out doing their thing, Douglas. I know they missed out on a linebacker that went to Rutgers, I believe.
No, they missed out on a receiver that went to Oregon.
I saw that too, but
what I think you saw was Pettijohn, the linebacker from Texas, is going to be committing to a school tomorrow. He has Ohio State. He's been crystal balled to Ohio State, so a good opportunity to grab another talented player in the recruiting class. I think that's what you might have just mixed those two up. But another chance to bring in another great player for Ohio State, Jordan.
And it really could be, and I know, and a lot of people are kind of highlighting too that with the recruiting stage, is Oregon and Ohio State going to be that number 2 rival behind the team up north that I won't mention their name.
Jordan, to me, and I'm gonna because we brought up the Buckeyes, we'll talk about it for a second here. In my opinion, Jordan, it feels like Oregon is already our rival, and they haven't even played a game in the Big Ten yet. The way that the two fan bases are going back and forth on social media, it definitely feels rivalry-esque. And again, not even a game has been played between the two in the Big Ten. I am worried about Oregon. They seem like they're coming in as almost a juggernaut. We've got to shut that shit down this season, buddy. When we play Oregon this year, we got to put it on them because they're coming for our throats every game. Everything on Twitter. They're taking a 5-star recruit, a wide receiver that Ohio State usually dominates the wide receiver. They stole a wide receiver. If these recruiting battles are going to really come between Oregon and Ohio State going forward, it's going to be very interesting now that they're in the Big Ten. I am worried more about Oregon going forward than I am Michigan. I think they are more of a threat for us going forward. Now that Michigan doesn't have Harbaugh, I do not feel the same way about them. When they had Harbaugh, I thought they were scary. Now I'm more worried about Oregon than I am any other team in the Big Ten. How do you feel about that?
Well, and just to finish your thought there, Harbaugh did finish with a losing record against Ohio State overall.
I know.
Even though the last 3 years have put bad memories in our just in our fandom period. But I kind of echo you there, Douglas. But that's why we brought in a guy like Chip Kelly to unlock the offense and to continue to compete with a bigger Big Ten and all these guys, SC, Oregon coming in, and the recruiting trail, and to really unlock the offense. This is why we have Chip Kelly. This is why we have a loaded quarterback room with 3 guys that could potentially start at any given time if their number becomes, called upon. So I think, year one is going to be interesting. I think year one is going to set up probably a 4 to 5 year window where Ohio State and Oregon, both their fan bases, their team and their coaching staff, and the portal, because, God forbid one of these guys leave at the end of this year and go to Oregon. That's going to be the new kind of back and forth. But I'm just saying, Douglas, it might happen. It might happen.
Imagine we lose a quarterback to Oregon, and they come back.
That would be.
Oh man, it could get ugly between these two teams.
I think it could get ugly, and I think it will get ugly. But having a guy like Chip Kelly that's been around, especially in that system himself, is going to at least ease our maybe competitive levelness on year one, and it's just going to go from there. But I do think you're kind of looking at the new, maybe new top 4 powerhouses, top 3. I think Oregon comes in and takes that spot from Penn State, where Penn State was kind of a juggernaut for years and really a thorn in our side, Douglas.
Yeah,
especially under the Joe Paterno era, if I'm allowed to say that and not get canceled. But they
watch for
because they were that spot. It was always kind of that Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. I think Oregon comes in and takes that Penn State spot before Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's got probably a 2-year window before they become really competitive with their new head coaching staff that they got in place. But the Big Ten is going to be must-see TV. Last year, everybody said it was going to be the Pac-12 and Colorado, and we gave them all the primetime games in the world. But really, the Big Ten right now is probably going to be one of the best conferences in sports. I'd even probably put a little bit over the SEC with SEC loses Nick Saban and a lot of other names when it comes to coaching, and you're going to just see a lot of change there, especially with Texas going in there and their conference kind of realigning themselves. I think the Big Ten gives you that premier conference, at least for the 2024-2025 season.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's still the SEC. Them adding Texas and Oklahoma is still huge, but we go out and we get Oregon, USC. I mean, those are huge names also. So we'll see how that plays out, Jordan. A lot going on, but Oregon is definitely they're coming, and they are coming fast in terms of Big Ten football. Jordan, we've discussed a lot tonight. We've had a great show. I want a quick shout out to the live viewers, 164 in here with us right now. That means a lot to us. It really, really does. So thank you to everybody who's in here. And I'm going to take a moment for a shameless plug for us, Jordan. We have made Ohio Sports Talk koozies. If you support the show and you want to support us financially, we are selling them for $5.99. Reach out to us on our social medias, Facebook, X, anywhere you can imagine, TikTok. Check us out, Ohio Sports Talk koozies. They're made in-home. We would really appreciate if you picked one up. It means a lot to us. Thank you to everybody who's in here tonight. Jordan, any final thoughts before we leave?
No, sir. I'm glad everybody had a safe, great Independence Day weekend, 4th of July weekend. It's still going to rock on. Saturday's still, people still going to do some things. But hoping for a big Reds turnaround, hoping for some Cavs moves. And Monday, we'll come in here, we'll be energized, ready to really blow the roof off the place. And until then, interact with us. Ohio Sports Talk on X. We're super active there. Doug answers a lot of questions. I try to get on and chime in when I can. And we'll see you guys on Monday. It's been a great show, been a great holiday weekend, and it means the world to us. You guys, coming out and supporting us, and we'll see you then.
Okay, guys, I'm Doug. That's the Mad Dog. We will be live Monday night at 9:00, same time, same place. See you there. Ohio Sports Talk out.